Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, we can hear you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna devotees. So, anyone tell me what chapter we are going to do today?
Yes, today's chapter is
Which chapter? Chapter number and what's the chapter name?
this is ninth chapter.
Ninth, most confidential knowledge.
Yes. So today we are going to discuss the most confidential knowledge, and what is this knowledge is what we are going to see, right? So today's chapter is so important because Krishna is going to give a very personal information. It's a secret, right? So, so I always tell, this is like the whole Bhagavad Gita is a personal note from Krishna to us. And ninth chapter in particular is like a love letter. He will start, writing love letter, and typically this is how it will be. And let me just start off with Mangalacharan, and then we will, start getting into the live examples of how Krishna is going about. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanattimurandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapatatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpati Rupeshu Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusute Devi Pranamani Haripriye Mancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama
Rama
Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama
Hare Hare.
Rama.
Hare Krishna. So before we start the confidential knowledge, whom do you disclose the confidential knowledge to? Generally, whom do you share something in confidence to?
Very close. My friend.
Yeah, so friend and someone whom you can trust. So now Krishna is opening up, right? That is why Bhakti Yoga is in the middle, because he needs that comfort. And all those who have traveled 8 chapters, this is exactly the middle chapter, like 18 chapters are there. 9th chapter, he actually is revealing this confidential knowledge. And it's just not a knowledge, it is also like a love letter. If you see what happens is Krishna is personally proposing to each one, right? And trying to tell. So if, can one of you all, tell me, how will you draft a love letter? So first chapter, I always tell we are going on to the field, right? So we are in the military field, in the fighting mode, and we have to be there. Only then we will know if Arjuna withdraws, that compassion is not what we want, because we are right there before the bow and arrow, and we know anytime the arrow will pick, that time we'll know what's more important, right? We will not talk about ahimsa, we will not talk about compassion and all. We'll talk about, oh my God, Arjuna, pick up the bow and fight. So today, Krishna is going to get into this concept of love letter, right? So it's a very personal relationship. So we have to quickly shift our mood, right, from the battlefield and be in the acceptance mood. So can any one of you, tell me, how would anyone draft a love letter? It's a general letter, so there is no judgment here. It's not that if you have love letter, you have written someone love letter. It's just, if one of you all can initiate. Hare Krishna.
It starts with the deer.
Yes, thank you, Sandhya Mataji. Please go ahead. And then?
Then we'll express our love.
How? Specific.
You are my heart, or you are my heartbeat. Like
very nice. And then?
I trust you, and like
Correct.
Uh,
And then finally,
some good word, some.
and then a little about ourselves also, no? Like,
Yes.
right? So typically, so let's see how this relates, right? So the mood is set, and now we will start the 9th chapter. This is called the most confidential knowledge, right? And it's also called the king of all knowledges. And this is called Räja-vidyä, and it is also, there is an exclusive book called Räja-vidyä in Bheda base. So you can read this specifically about this chapter. Let's pay our obeisances to Shishi Radha Govinda. Now section 8, what happened is 8th chapter has how many verses?
28.
34 verses.
Thank you so much. No, 28, perfect. And how many questions does Arjuna ask?
8
8
questions.
questions.
8 questions.
First 2 verses are 8 questions asked by Arjuna. 3 and 4 answers 7 questions. The rest of the entire chapter is all about the last question, right? And the supremacy. So finally, the last few chapters just talk about the supremacy of devotion and how you can reach. So there's a quick summary of what's called the Yoga Mishra Bhakti and Pure Bhakti, right? Yoga Mishra Bhakti is mixed Bhakti, and Pure Bhakti is, we know, unalloyed love. So he's given the rules, everything. So what is the...
Mataji, your voice is breaking.
Isn't my voice clear?
It's breaking actually.
It's clear for me. Hare Krishna.
Can you please check your internet connection once? Because your voice is breaking when you speak, so that's why.
Actually, there is a sound coming from the back.
Mute all first.
I'll just mute everyone. Yeah, you all can unmute when you all want to talk and then go back on mute. Thank you so much. So Ananya Bhakti, right? In chapter 8, Krishna has explained Ananya means unalloyed devotional service, surpass the path of light and darkness. Now Krishna has explained how to become a devotee, right? So we have understood very clearly by sadhana bhakti, you can actually get into Ananya Bhakti. So he is teaching that he explains in the chapter 8. So what is the supremacy of bhakti? He concludes at the end, right? He is the best form of yoga. So there are various forms, of course, karma yoga, jnana yoga, everything, but bhakti. Bhakti is not just highlighted here, he is highlighting bhakti at every stage. You see, 2nd chapter also he brings the bhakti, because even in the 2nd chapter he says he's a he is a devotee and a friend. So he brings bhakti indirectly, and directly also he talks about bhakti. 3rd chapter he talks about bhakti. 4th he talks. 5th chapter very clearly he says, right? Bhuktaram yagna tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram sukritam sarva bhutanam yanta shantim rakshati. So what is he saying? Like even in the 5th chapter, he's telling that he's supreme and bhakti is ultimate. So is 6th chapter, right? Papa punya kritatva. Even little punya you do, you become Suchiman Srimatam. So you will go there. So all that. So everywhere. So little bhakti, that is also highlighted earlier verses in the 2nd chapter. 6th chapter also is in continuation. If you very similar to that, right? If you fail at a higher percentage, then you get into a transcendental family. At a lower percentage of bhakti you fail, you get into a materially rich, wealthy Shriman, very rich family called the Shriman type, where you can continue bhakti. So bhakti is highlighted at every stage. Of course, 7th chapter onwards is anyway bhakti yoga. It's highlighted throughout. So he is saying that. So in fact, 7th and 9th chapter are very identical, because in the 7th chapter, Krishna talks, but it's a very general thing. 7.4, it's the material energy he talks about. So what is material energy? What is the name in Sanskrit called for the material energy or the external energy?
Apara.
And also one more name. What?
Para.
Yeah. No, para is not material energy. Apara, and what is it called? One more Shakti. How do you call that? Bairanga Shakti.
External.
Bahya Shakti.
Sorry?
Bahya Shakti.
Bairanga Shakti. Yeah. And this internal energy is explained in 2.5, right? Which composes of two subdivisions. One, all is Supreme Abode, all is Vishnu Tattvas, and the internal energy is also our Jiva Tattva, also called the marginal energy. So that is explained very clearly in chapter 7, and virtually even 9th chapter looks identical. So what is about 8th chapter? 8th chapter is like the connecting. It's a conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, because 7th chapter concludes with technical words, and so it just swiftly he wants to get the important aspects. So it's more of Jnana. Jnana is discussed in 8th chapter, right? Whereas in 9th chapter, it's the most confidential. So what happens is, how do you start liking a person? Or even if you are seeking a proposal, formally or informally, what do? You try and ask him about his background, his habits, his knowledge. You will try and get to know a little more about what is his qualification, what you know a little more detail, right? What is the powers he has, what is financial bank balance of his, may not be literally, but indirectly, right? How many houses you have, what all can you do, how will you take care? Even if the father is looking for a proposal for the daughter, he will get, okay, let me know more about the person, right? So he will inquire, right? So he will hear from multiple sources. So here we are going to see hearing about Krishna. Qualification and disqualification is explained. Aisvarya Jnana, right? I already told Aisvarya, what are the potencies, right? What is it, his relationship with us, each one of us. So when it says material world, he's talking about each one of us in this material world. Acinta, Bheda, Abheda philosophy is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu brought in, and it talks about, the Acinta, Bheda, Abheda, so it's different and one and the same. Example, Krishna is here as well as there. How Krishna is here? I'm here and I am in work. How is it possible? Not possible, right? Because if we are here, we are here. Whereas for Krishna, he is present here as Paramatma in our hearts. He is also in his original form in Goloka Vrindavan. So for him, it is very much possible. So non-worshippers and worshippers, right? He's going to discuss about two categories, worshippers, non-worshippers. In 7th chapter, he went directly about pious and impious people. So he is also talking in lines with that, but here the difference is there is more theory class. It's like releasing a book about someone's biography. That is 7th chapter. 9th chapter is writing a personal letter to each one. Krishna is the supreme object of worship, right? So I already have always told, right? We have the object of worshipping and the objective. Both matches, then you will reach perfection. Many will have object of worship. They may think I'll worship the idol form so that I can have concentration. But my end can be different. No, I will go to Krishna, I will pray, but I want jewelry, I want dress, right? The object of worship is different from the objective. Your objective becomes different. Your objective is not to reach Krishna. Your objective is to get a lot of stuff. But your object becomes same. Both the cases you will worship only Krishna. But slowly when both of them match, that is when you get liberated. The glories of directly worshipping Krishna. So directly worshipping. So if we are going to directly worship Krishna, what is speciality? Right? So we can see all this. So slowly we become Ananya Bhaktas. So here we have 3 verses talking about hearing about Krishna. We saw this, and 4 to 10 we just saw Aisvarya, and 11 to 15 non-worshippers and worshippers, and 16 to 25 Krishna is the supreme object. So let's start with the section. And it talks about 1 to 13. As I am talking, whoever wants to read can raise your hand and take turns. And so non-envious, very, very important verse, right? So we already started off the 2 qualities, what are the 2 qualities Arjuna qualifies in the 2nd chapter for being spoken?
Non-envious.
And faith.
Is not envious and
not envious, not discussed there, Prabhu. It's discussed only here. So in the 2nd chapter,
friend.
Friend and one more.
Faith.
Devotee.
Devotee, yes. Bhakta Saki. Thank you, Sanjay Mataji, thanks, Prabhu. And someone prompted, I couldn't follow, but thank you so much. And thanks, Vidhya. So very nice, right? So he explains. So now he is telling one more quality in the 9th chapter. Anasuyave, that means non-envious. Why? Because you can share only with someone who just is not your friend and is confidential, but also somebody who doesn't envy, right? Let's say that you bought a huge house, right? And someone is so jealous, is a friend, but very jealous of you. You won't even feel like sharing, right? You'll tell, bhai, chodo yaar, let me not talk about it. So this is what he says. So let's start our scroll. And whoever wants to read, please raise your hand. Shri Bhagwan Vacha idam tute guhya tamam rajyami anasuyave Jnanam vijnana sahitam yajnatva mokshase subhat. Hare Krishna. Yes, please go ahead, Mutukal. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, shall I read it? Shyam here.
You can read, Prabhu, but somebody is raising the hand and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is Kiran here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure, no problem. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead and read. Thank you.
Yeah. The Supreme Lord said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the mysteries of the material existence."
Hare Krishna. Guhya Tamam is most confidential knowledge, right? Guhya, we saw in the second chapter, second and third, talks about secret. So Guhya means secret, which means I'm not the body, I'm the soul. That's the first secret, right? And Guhya Tamam is most confidential. So let's see what this most confidential is. So he says, because you're never envious. So he's telling, my dear Arjuna, because you're never envious, I impart this most secret wisdom to you, knowing which, all your mysteries will be relieved, right? So that's the power. So he is talking about completely good knowledge. So most confidential knowledge, let's see the link, right? In chapter 9. So we understood something called the confidential knowledge. I'm not the body, I'm the soul. We also understood the most confidential knowledge, which is going to be spoken here, which is the devotional service. So what is spoken in 7 and 8? It's about knowledge, right? 7 and 8 is all yarn, knowledge, which can get you close to Krishna consciousness. So basically, we are talking about confidential, which is the basic theory. Most confidential is the destination, and in between is the process, which gives you the lot of knowledge, Vidhya, to get to that stage, right? So 7 and 8 is more confidential because it is going to highlight Krishna consciousness and Supreme Lord as his energy. So he brings that into consideration. So imparts this confidential knowledge and realization to Krishna. So what happens? So what is the qualification? Very clearly, Anusuyave, free from envy. That's the qualification. You don't need your engineering degree or your MBA degree to achieve that. What is the means to receive? Shunu, proper hearing. So we have to, that's why they say, no, hear me, no, listen to me. Right? There's a difference. Just like that, you keep dreaming, no. You have to observe, right? That only then you get self-realized. So properly hear. What are the benefits? Relief from the miseries of material existence. You get complete relief, right? And you will have permanent abode, right? So that's a specialty. So Räja-vidyä is called the king of education. So I'm going to now ask you all this question. What are the 9 processes of devotion?
Hearing, chanting.
Example, tell one process with example and somebody else tell the other process. And nobody is talking. Of course, people who have not spoken can speak.
Hearing.
Example.
This is what we are doing now.
Okay, that's also a nice example. Who is relating to today's life? Yes, we are hearing. And historic hearing example is given. One more from history. So, Parikshit, when Sukadev is talking, the whole thing, Parikshit is there hearing, right? He's only listening. Nothing else he's doing. He's not even eating. He's not drinking. He knows in 7 days he is going to die. And entire Bhagavatam, Sapta, 7 days he's hearing. Example. Next one, come on.
Chanting.
Yes, chanting. Yes, thank you, Shyam Prabhu. Yes, Rupa Mataji, chanting. Chanting is example. Along with example, your type or your talk.
Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. That is Mahamantra.
Okay. So our life is fine. Mantra is also example of chanting. Historically, chanting. So Chavanam, first one. Second one is Kirtanam. Third one.
Remembering.
Vishnu Smaranam.
Thank you so much. Yes, Vishnu Smaranam. Right, example.
Prahalada.
So I'm showing now. That's why. Can anyone tell me the example? Always keeps thinking.
Prahalada.
Yeah, Prahlad, classic example. Thank you so much, Mataji. Prahlad is an excellent example. He always keeps thinking of Vishnu. Nothing else is in his mind. That's why he's able to tolerate anything. Right? And the next one.
Serving.
So serving, everything is serving. But Pada Sevanam specifically, the term used. So it's about Lakshmi. Archanam, right? Prithu Maharaj, right? You do Archana. Vandanam, prayers are offered. and Akrura is an example of prayers order. Dasyam. Anybody give me an example of Dasyam?
Hanumanji.
See, universal example that never changes.
Yeah.
And we are already seeing, and along with this, Chitraka, Patraka, all his friends are there, all the Gopas, all of them. And Atma Nivedam, complete surrender, Bali Maharaj.
Yeah.
So, do you want to hear a secret about Bali Maharaj? Nobody wants to hear. So I go to the next slide.
I want to hear the secret, Mother.
Thank you. So the secret is two things. One is Krishna was a driver here for Arjuna. But for Bali Maharaj, he actually gave, we all know that, oh my God, he, put his leg on his head. My God, he's such a great devotee. What did he do? But the second part one, we know. The part two part of it is Krishna gave him one of the lokas, right? Lower planetary systems. He gave him the complete rights. And he became the watchman. So anyone in this group would like to do a one night or a 1 hour watchman service for your friend's house? Have you ever done, or would you ever do? I wouldn't do. I get very upset when I have to wait outside somebody's door even for a minute. Forget door. If I have to wait elsewhere, beyond 1 minute, I feel, oh my God, I can't do this. Yes or no?
Yes, Mataji.
So that you can imagine what level Krishna can go down, right, for bhakti. And also the biggest, one more secret inside that is that he is going to, Bali will be your next Indra. So next Indra Dev, after current Indra gets liberated, right, next Indra will be Bali Maharaj. So all this is written. So always we know half and we control, but the other half is even more sweeter. Hare Krishna. 9.2 Räja-vidyä Räja-vidyam Pavitram idam uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam dharmyam Susukam kartum avyayam. Hare Krishna. Shyam Prabhu, you can read one and Mataji can read another one. You can read this.
This knowledge is king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting, and it is joyfully performed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna is very clearly saying this knowledge is the king of education, right? Räja-vidyä, it's a king, it's the topmost knowledge. And the most secret of all secrets. So all the secrets is the greatest secret. It is the purest knowledge, right? It's so pure because it gives a direct perception. How you reach Krishna, right? Directly it gives. And it is the perfection of religion. So he says very clearly, you will achieve the topmost thing. So why is it called secret of secrets? Krishna itself is telling. One. And second thing is he's giving you a direct solution. So far it is indirect, right? Do karma yoga, you can achieve. You can also do this, you can also do. You can do renunciation also, you can do bhakti also. It's here he directly is going to hit the nail straight, right? With the hammer and tell, hey, listen, this is what you have to do. And bhakti is spoken, but then is all like spoken. But here he talks only about bhakti and how you can reach, right? It is not, it is everlasting because it's eternal and is very joyful, right? So that's what he says. It's a king of knowledge because it's the essence of all doctrines and philosophies. All the doctrines, whatever is explained till now, this essence is spoken. That is why it's and most confidential why it's talking about the external activities of the soul. It talks a lot of things which we don't know about it. First and foremost, soul itself we've just understood now, and it tells and gives information about it completely. So right side, the stages of reaction is in nectar of devotion, right? So let's see that a bit, right? Avidya. So avidya is what happens, right? Typically, you do not have knowledge, and because you do not have knowledge, you have in your heart, bijam is seed, a lot of sinful desires. So let's take an example of a thief, right? So he wants to rob, right? He of course has desires. He wants to build a house, he wants jewelry, he doesn't want to work hard. So he starts focusing on the wrong side. So that is bijam, that's a seed is there, which makes him steal. That's a path pump, right? Actions which is done. Now, so what is it? There are two things called the prarabdha and aprarabdha. Anything A means opposite, right? Prarabdha means what he manifests. So if he gets caught by the police and goes to jail, it is prarabdha. But if he's not getting caught, what happens? Aprarabdha. So what happens? Unmanifested. So he's not going to jail. Unmanifested means what you can't see. So what will happen? If we kuta, the sinful deposition increases. That is the tendency to do this. Right? It will increase more and more. I'm not in jail, so I have stolen, let's say one box. I'm going to steal one more AC. I'm going to steal one more jewelry. All this he will go on and on, right? he will go on and on. It's not going to control him at all. Now, if he is caught in the jail, maybe, he's suffering and therefore he'll get some realization. So this is what it is. So the same thing, we can use it for our life. If we experience for whatever sins we have done, aprarabdha, if it's unmanifested, we will not bother, we'll continue the sins. But if we are suffering, then we will stop immediately, right? The kutam will stop. Bijam will get destroyed completely. So that's what we are talking about. So there is this Räja-vidyä, Guhya, Pavitramidam Uttamam, we just saw. So what is that Pavitramidam Uttamam? Because he's telling it's the purest form, right? Simple reaction, we saw the 4 stages, right? Bijam, Papam, Aprarabdha and Kutam, right? It's like a growth of the tree that it keeps growing. So even if you cut off the tree, it will grow because the roots are present. Once water is there, favorable condition is there, it will go. Pavitram means the 4 stages, whatever stage you're in. It could be like someone in Bijam state or Papam state, Aprarabdha stage or Kutam, any stage, devotional service is so powerful that he will completely cleanse, he will completely clear off the whole thing. Uttamam, obviously we know that this is the highest of education, right? So that's why even in Ishopanishad it says, right? Anya devahu vidyaya, anya deavura vidyaya, idi shushrumadirana, enastad vijashakshure. Means material education, if you know, is not education, is called avidya, right? But if you know spiritual education, that's only called the true vidya, because the heart understands the vidya, the knowledge is close to the soul, right? Why do you call the person as soulmate, right? Because we know that the soul exists. Otherwise, this word would have not been. And who's a true soulmate? Come on, all of you, who's a true soulmate? Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah, you can unmute. Who's a true soulmate?
Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much.
Paramatma.
Paramatma, exactly. Krishna, Paramatma is a true soulmate, right? Nobody else is a soulmate. We keep telling for fancy, right? Otherwise, as Shyam Prabhu said in the love letter, I'll tell, sweet, dear, darling, everything I will tell to impress. And soulmate is used in that connection, but no, only Krishna is a true soulmate. That's why he says Sukhrinu, well-wisher. So further glorification of most confidential knowledge, pratyaksha magamam, right? Directly perceive. Directly I will be able to perceive about self, right? How I get is by practicing. Like directly be, so people who are elevated in the Bhava stage and in Prema stage, they see Krishna, they see the activities of Krishna. It's not that they are only in trance, no. They are able to participate in that. So by practicing devotional service, by association with them, you will get into the direct perception, right? Example, we have seen by chanting without Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, without offense, one feels transcendental pleasure and gets purified quickly, right? Also, if one further helps in the mission, one takes to spiritual progress. So that's the thing. Why do we do meditation? Because we are focusing on, the thought. But the purpose of Hare Krishna Mantra is to remember Krishna. Vishnu Smaran. That's the, yes, we are chanting. We are also hearing, right? But the fact is for Vishnu Smaran, we keep thinking of Krishna. What is the qualification? You just have to, no need to have any education. It is only qualification is Laulyam, right? You just have to be greedy of reaching Krishna. Dharmam, it says it's perfect. Susukam is blissful. Avyayam, it's eternal and everlasting. That's why people do. Imagine people in US when Prabhupada went and he spoke to them, they were not following a single regulatory principle. And I still wonder how they could give up on smoking, drinking, which they used to do so many times in a day. Illegal sex, right? So very difficult for them because many of them even became sannyasis, and for them it's a very common thing. They are used to for them it's just like a hunger or a thirst, right? They are big time into gambling. Even otherwise, these two are very, very dominating. And non-vegetarian is part of, they probably eat only that, right? At least in India, even people who take non-veg eat that as a side dish, but abroad they eat. That's the only dish they eat. So it's like giving away your complete meal and changing your style of eating. So that's too much, right? And Mohandas Prabhu has posted the link, attendance link. I request everyone to click because level 3 is going to start soon. And this will become a criteria. It should not be your showstopper. Right? Hare Krishna. Ashraddhahana Purusha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Aprapyamam Nirvartanti Mrityu Samsara Vartman. Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji, you can chant. You can read.
Yeah, this is Kiran here. Those who are not faithful on the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world.
So very clearly, those who are not faithful, you cannot attend, obviously, right? So he is giving you information. You don't trust me, then you can't reach me, obviously, right? So if you don't trust what I'm talking, you're not going to give value to whatever I'm even telling you. You tell, okay, Radhika Mataji is coming and talking something, she doesn't make sense because you don't trust me. So if I'm going to tell Krishna is present in your heart as Paramatma, he is in Goloka Vrindavan, you don't trust me, how is it possible? Huh? I'm sitting here, how can you be present there? Is it even possible? Just forget it, huh? So this is how the tone will be, right? But today you feel, yes, it's possible because there is something called Acinta, Bheda, Abheda philosophy, which means we cannot conceive everything with our brain. But yes, there is something beyond that. Faithless cannot attain Krishna. Simply by serving Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. So what are the root? Watering the root. Example, if you're hungry, you may eat by hand, but you're actually feeding the stomach. If the hand says, no, I am not going to feed because I want to put the finger on the rice and it should get absorbed. This is similar to Pratyaksha and Praman. I have to see, then only I'll believe. So a hand says, I will not feed you, right? And the mouth says, and teeth says, I'm not going to chew. Mouth says, I'm not going to swallow, right? And if enzymes say, no, I don't want to do this. Isn't it foolish, right? Because the stomach will automatically eat and supply. Same way the root absorbs and it supplies to everyone. How does the faith be created? Devotee association. So no good faith and knowledge of scriptures easily. If you do not have faith, obviously, there's no perfection you will follow. Third level, we already saw, right? In fact, all 4 levels we saw. It's not worth, right? You just tend to form. So firm faith is very important. But once you get firm faith, you will go. For example, here it talks specifically of 3 levels of people. We also enter the beginning. It's called the neophyte state. It's called the dash. What is it called? 3 levels of faith. Based on that, the 3 names are given. What? Neophyte. And what is the Sanskrit term for it? Come on. Kanishta Adhikari. You all know this. It's just that suddenly when I ask, you can't relate. And what is the person with the middle level of faith? Somebody who has middle level of, most of the teachers will come into this category. They are Madhyama Adhikari. You can unmute. And the highest is Uttama Adhikari. Example is our Prabhupada himself. Right? So firm faith, what happens? They are so well versed in devotional services. And development of faith is a process of Krishna consciousness. So what are we doing? Why Sadhu Sangha? Why? Only because we have to strengthen our faith. It's the most important factor. So the first verse is an introduction, right? It talks about development of faith. Krishna is telling, hey, you have to develop faith. So he's now related to the love letter. Hey, I'm going to tell you a few points, but trust me first, right? Whatever I'm telling you, have to trust me. I've been liking you so long, but even if I tell you, you're not going to. So first develop faith. So Krishna's first introduction is about faith, right? And now he's coming about his next section about his action. What all he's having. Krishna's Acinta, Bheda, Abheda relationship with material world. Krishna pervades, creates and annihilates the cosmos through material energy. Although Krishna is the supreme director, the material world nevertheless moves independently and Krishna thus remains neutral and detached. So, little bit of Jnana. Okay. So what is happening is the Goloka Vrindavan is here and Krishna in his two-handed form is here. He expands his first level of expansion called the Balram. All of you all know. It's a first expansion and all this is in Goloka Vrindavan. Balram in turn expands into 4. Sankarshana, Pratyumna. Anybody knows this? Aniruddha and Vasudeva. Now this Sankarshana is called Moola Sankarshana. Okay. Now this Moola Sankarshana again expands and enters the main Vaikuntha planet as Narayana. Narayana again expands. What happens in Narayana? Narayana again has 4 expansion, which is again Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshana, and your Vasudeva. This Sankarshana is called Maha Sankarshana. Now again, this Maha Sankarshana expands and enters into the cosmic world, the creation of cosmic world. So this expansion, all of you know, Mahavishnu again expands. First, when he breathes out, many pores are there. And inside every pore, what happens? He enters and makes Garbhodakshayani Vishnu. Inside every Garbhodakshayani Vishnu stomach, navel, Brahma is coming. It's not like this, but it's only for the sake of it. It's like a lotus stem. There, what happens is you have, Brahma. So he's created Brahma as a secondary creator. So why is he done all this? So that he wants to stay in Goloka Vrindavan, and he wants to, still he doesn't want to leave us alone. So he comes as Paramatma. And 5th chapter we saw, even though he comes, he's not focusing on just coming and, sitting here, but his main focus is to come and keep on giving a little bit of advice, but he doesn't want to rule. So he's independent. So he's given delegated authority to Brahma to take care. And along with Brahma, Brahma's team, entire demigods, Indra, everybody, give rain to my devotee, give, whatever you need. Food, grain, moon, please take care of my devotees, highlight the vegetation, everything. Hey, sun, don't forget to come, Surya Dev, so that you can help. So this is what he's saying. So the entire material world is created by him, and it moves independently, and Krishna remains neutral. Yeah, why? How it moves independently? Because Krishna is in Goloka, it moves. Right? But however, is it totally independent of Krishna? No, it's an energy of Krishna, right? So you can never separate energy and energy. So these are not same, but it's one and the same, it's one and different, right? So what is Acinta Bheda philosophy? Hare Krishna. Pay attention to this. So it says, Maya tatam idam sarvam jagat abhyatya murtina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvashishtitaha. Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hello. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them.
So this is what I was trying to explain before this comes, because this will go out of the head. It's a very complicated verse. So what does it mean? All beings are in me. Yes, all of us know that, right? I'm not in them. Hey, no, but he is there as Paramatma. Yes, he may be as Paramatma. Only people who, there are two ways of taking it. Only people who understand Krishna, okay, he can understand and see Krishna, can understand this confidential knowledge. But this specifically about universe, this entire universe, right? Everything is in him. If you see Mahavishnu, all the universes come out of him and go into him, right? But he is not taking part or in the role of everybody's individual performance, right? He is not in them. He may be as Paramatma, but he is not an executor. He is there simply in Goloka Vrindavan, and he is delegated authority to his tattvas and still to the Devatas who are part and parcels of him. They are delegated authorities, like the CEO. Let's say, typically we have this Tata, right? You have Tata almost every nook and corner. But is Tata present there? Same way Reliance is there every nook and corner, but is Ambani sitting in every corner? Or is he just there and he's delegated his managers? Come on, all of you talk. Is he present? Is he cloned himself into 20 companies which he's there, or 200 companies? Or he's just present in one and he's administratively running? No? Yes, thank you so much. So that is what is very important. So
system will run.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. System runs, right? And this is how it is. Is the session very tiring or boring? Because I see only very few of you talking today. Or is it the Monday blue and you all are sleeping? Hare Krishna. Yeah, because the problem will come to me also then. Then I'll also start feeling.
No. It's very interesting.
9.5.
We are all listening to you,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
But a little noise is coming, Mata, that is irritating. That some kind of noise is coming. That is the only.
Yeah, I'm muting everyone, Prabhu. Now you will get muted. You can, each one of you, keep unmuting and read, and then again go back into mute. Yes, Prabhu, you can read. Hare Krishna.
9.5. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation.
Hare Krishna. So he said, even though everything is created and does not rest in me, because they don't depend on me, beyond my mystic opulence, right? Although I am the maintainer of everything, I am everywhere. Yes, you know, right? He's there, everything. We are going to see this later in the next chapter. You will see him present everywhere in the material world, in spiritual world, everywhere. And he says that I am the very source of creation, because we know that he is the creator, right? He is a source, not just a prime source. Everything, material world is created by him, spiritual is created. Even though it does not rest in him, in the sense the entire material world is automated. right? Automated does not mean a small child enters a place where the door opens. She says, Mama, the door opened, right? But an intelligent person knows there is behind this automated service, there is a mind behind, right? So there is technology behind, there are people behind. So that technology, mind, people are all Krishna. But execution is done automatically, and that even for that local automation, there are these demigods. So Krishna does the main thing and delegates a power for the people to take care. But however, the source is the same, right? Yes, 9.6, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me.
Right. So we all know that the mighty wind is blowing everywhere, right? So it is always there. It's there all around. You can see the wind. Even if the Toronto comes, it can really throw the person. Same way, but end of the day, it is within confined space. If you see, a wind has a certain speed, but it can only be here, right? The wind cannot break open the sky and just run and go beyond the space and go into another part of the universe. No, there's a different wind over there. But here the Marichi is what we call, right, is controlled in a specific thing. So even though the wind is so powerful it stays. So I still remember when I'd been to Singapore, when we were traveling, and I think all of us dozed off. Travels make us very sleepy. And I think they have this Toronto kind of wind which can actually take you. We have known a lot in theory, and practically it happens. So that is why they have the huge buildings on small wheels, so that when there is a movement, it just moves a little with the wheels. The huge buildings also are on small wheels. And what happens is, I only remembered that something was happening, and when I opened my eyes, I was literally flying. Of course, inside the bus, but literally flying, right? So that is the level of the power of the wind. But it's not that the wind, even though it's so powerful, it's not like it can really get out of the sky. The most confidential knowledge, the fifth one, right? The living entities do not rest upon Krishna. We saw this Yogam Aisvaryam, inconceivable mystic opulence. Now Krishna's love letter very clearly says, right? So I have this Yogam Aisvaryam, the qualities. Everything that is created does not rest in me. That is one. Implies that everything rests in him. Still he is aloof. Everything is within him, but still day-to-day activities or our decisions, he is there. One more example which Prabhupada has quoted is Atlas, right? So Atlas, if you see, Atlas is holding the universe and he's very tired, right? He gets so exhausted. If you have seen that map, do you remember that Atlas? That's that person holding the world. So Krishna is not like that. He's delegated the authority. And he's aloof, right? He's aloof means he's see in Goloka, you can see. And all this is taken care, by the rest of his delegates and his towers. External and everlasting. So see, this is the spiritual sky, very beautiful, right? So 9.7. Yes, please go ahead, Hare Krishna.
O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, all material manifestations enter into my nature. And at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I create them again.
So very clearly, there are three kinds of death, right? We've seen one is our death after, maybe 100 years or 80, 90, 100. One. Second thing is during the Brahma's night, because Nama does not know, he's not there in the night to take care of the administration. So it is 43, right? We have seen this 4.32 billion years. So after that, he automatically, during the day, he's there. Night time, he's not there. So it goes into annihilation. So all of us go underwater, right? So typically in the stomach of Vishnu. So at the death of Brahma, what happens? So how does it happen? The water level keeps raising. Only the top three lokas, right? The upper planetary system witness this. So there is witness, but everybody else get destroyed. But when the entire Brahma dies at 100 years, all those who are along with him in Brahma Loka, who are devotees and are desperate to reach Krishna, get elevated into the spiritual world. Some of them follow the Brahmajyoti, they go to the Brahmajyoti, but the rest of them get completely annihilated, destroyed, right? And goes into the stomach of Vishnu, and they get reproduced again in 9.8. 9.8, Mataji.
The whole cosmic orders is under me. By my will, it is manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated at the end.
Very clearly, it says that by my will. So everything again and again is manifested, created, and lost only by the will of Krishna, right? So he very clearly says, by my will, everything happens.
Oh, Dhananjaya, all this works cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral.
So even though Krishna is doing all this, it can't bind. That's why he's called Nirguna, above the modes, right? So it cannot bind him, and you cannot tell, okay, Krishna is little bit bound because he's created the world and therefore he has to come. He comes millennium after millennium. That's of his own will, right? You can't tell, hey, you have created this world, so come and report here. No, we can't do that, right? So Krishna is by the own will. So 8 and 9 has a link, but it's manifested again and again by his link. So everything is like a flow. All this which happens, annihilation is all creation of is by the will of Krishna. In spite of that, nobody can force him to do anything. So the most confidential knowledge of text talks about the relationship with the creation and destruction, right? The Lord's relationship with this world, material world, which we saw is the inferior energy, which is the Antaranga Shakti, also called the Apara Shakti. How Krishna creation refuses the modern concept, because modern concept, there is a gradual evolution of species. So they say that there is a squirrel and it tries flying. So I still remember when I was small, they said, this deer and all had a difficulty in eating the food on the top, and therefore it was stretching the head and therefore it became giraffe. Okay, fine. If that is the case, then are you telling me that I want to fly? I've invented plane. So if I keep flying, will I learn to fly one day? Or in my next generation, or in my grandchildren learn? No. It's not going to happen, right? It is just that I will fall in whichever generation. And so if monkeys are predecessors and I am there, fine, then why do they exist, right? You can't coexist, right? So this is one more thing. All species are created immediately along with the universe. So there are 84 lakhs species, stencils, which are created. And based on your requirement, one after the other, you take the form, and it's going to come, right? We're going to see this on what basis. What is the karma? Karma is defined beautifully in various chapters, but it is going to come up telling that the one which seeks, you take the material body, right? So which helps you. We saw Adi Atma. We just saw in 8th chapter, Adi Atma, Adi Bhuta, and Adi Deva. So, and karma. So what did Krishna define karma as? Karma is nothing but the desire which gives you the facility to take a particular body, right? So that is karma. So anything which results in that particular body. But that body, 84 lakhs stencils, is already created. Krishna's supreme will is always present, right? No direct involvement of Krishna. It's delegated. And what is the basis of creation? Everything is definitely, so we saw that is under this supreme force, right? The 3 Vishnus are reporting to Krishna, and material nature is automatically Lord's desire. So everything is Lord's desire. Prakriti reports to Krishna. Krishna is not directly involved. It's only through delegation. Creation takes place to accommodate inclinations of the desires. So automatically these things are taken care. So 9.10, Hare Krishna. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetuna nena kaunteya jagat viparivartate. Hare Krishna.
This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So very clearly saying that this particular material world is created, is produced. Moving is shara, not moving is akshara. Anything A added before a word in Sanskrit means opposite. But it is, everything is created. We saw all this, which I explained, is by this beautiful Krishna. Right? So 9.11 to 9.15. Do we have time? Yes, we do. So we'll see. So we'll see how much we can cover in this, right? Hare Krishna. Do you all want to cover this, or you want to take it to tomorrow? Is it very heavy? Because I see a lot of you all are silent. Can I do one more of this, or what do you all suggest?
Yeah, you can continue.
We can cover. Yeah, can continue.
Sure. Thank you so much. So non-worshippers and worshippers. Now we are getting into it. 11 and 12. Fools who think Krishna is an ordinary human being, possess a temporary form, becomes atheist and are defeated in their endeavor. So many of them, there are fools, right? Muda, who think that Krishna's form is temporary. So he's talking about 2 people, non-worshippers. We saw Anasuya. So those who are jealous, one category. Second category is that human body, they feel there's so much of pain and trauma, and therefore anything body they feel is we don't want. And also they think anything body is temporary, right? So we will see that in depth now. 13.15, definition and qualification of Mahatma. Mahatma is the term used for Dhira, Uttamadigari, right? A pure devotee, all this is the same thing, Mahatma. So 9.11, Hare Krishna. Avajananti ma muda Manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be.
Hare Krishna. So he says, fools deride me. What happens when Krishna comes in an ordinary human form? They think, okay, he has come like us. Therefore, he's also human. He's also like me. So he has limited powers. I can't jump from the 5th floor. So Krishna cannot, how can he jump, on Kaliya? It's just not possible. Because they think he is human. He's in human form, right? Human-like form, but it is not a human himself. Right? So that people don't know, and they are called mudas. But whereas in Isha Upanishad, we very clearly says, right? Saparyaga chukramakaram avranam yashna vidam suttama papavitam kavi manishi paribu swayambhu yata tatrato artan vyadata shashvadibhya samabhya. Very clearly he says that, I may appear to be like dumb, two-handed version, and you relate me as this is nothing but muda, because he says fools only think like this because they have a two-handed form, and therefore they think Krishna has two-handed form. That is why the Vishwarupa is going to come, because people want power, opulence, right? So Krishna is now writing in that letter, hey, just because I look like you, don't think that I am you. Just because I'm, let's say, wearing a watch, right? You're also wearing a watch. I'm also wearing a watch. Don't think this watch is the same as yours, right? So everybody, okay, let's take a classic example of a mobile. Of course, it's serving a purpose, but just for it, everybody is having a mobile, right? Right from the person who's a beggar today, right? And our Bill Gates also. So can you tell that the Bill Gates and the beggar are same because both are having a mobile? Therefore, I conclude that both are of the same level. Can anybody say that?
No, Mataji.
Right? And same way, this Faraday, there was a story where somebody had gone to interview Faraday, and when they entered, Faraday was gardening, right? He had a very beautiful garden, and he was gardening. And obviously, when you're gardening, you wear a very casual clothes, right? And he went and asked Faraday, we would like to meet Faraday. Can you go and tell him to come? Right? Thinking he's a gardener. He said, sure, he will come in a minute. And he went there and he got himself, he just changed over and he came and he sat, and they were shocked. Right? Of course, Faraday did not react. He just moved on because he was a very sensible person, right? So does Krishna do. He doesn't want to even sit and comment or talk to them and convince. But just because he wore a gardener's dress, can you tell, hey, he is a gardener? Or just because Bill Gates is holding a phone, hey, beggar is also holding a phone. So both are equal. So you're a beggar, and or you can't tell beggar, hey, you're having a phone. Amazing. You are also having a phone. Bill Gates is also having a phone. Therefore, both of you are equal. Isn't that foolish? Isn't that foolish?
Yes, Mataji.
Right.
Yes,
so that's
Mataji.
exactly the same. Human body is not made up of bones or blood seam, pus. No, it's not that way. Right. Krishna's body is very different. So now there are 3 categories. Now listen, we already read 4 categories of Muda in the 7th chapter. Now, what are the pious people we know? Right, 4 categories. So we will quickly revise that so that we'll understand this. What are the 4 category of pious people which we revised in the 7th chapter?
Distressed.
Very nice.
Inquisite. Need of money.
Yes. Mataji, you were saying something.
Jnani.
Thank you so much. Very dear is Jnani, but all 4 categories are there. So again, very clearly, Atta, Arthati, Jignashu, and Jnani, right? So 4 categories. Of the 4 categories, Jnani is the highest. So let's forget about highest or lowest, because Krishna is loving everybody. So he is saying 4 categories of pious people. Now, what are the 4 categories of impious people?
The foolish one, Muda.
Correct. Muda is foolish.
Lowest of the mankind. Lowest of the mankind.
Lowest of mankind. Perfect, Prabhu. Once again, Mataji is telling the Sanskrit version. Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Naradamas.
Yes, Naradama. Yes, Sandhya Mataji. And
Demons.
What is that category called?
Asuri Bhava.
Asuras.
Thank you so much. Asura Bhava Ashritaya. So someone who takes ashramam, shelter in the Asura, demons. Yes. One more, third category, 1, 2, and 4. Third one.
Maya Pahrata, scientist and philosopher.
Thank you. Maya Pakritanaya. Very nice. So proud of all of you. And Sandhya Mataji, perfect Sanskrit terms. And all of you in English, so nice. So all these are broad, pious, impious. So here we are going to see an extension of this self. And I just brought in a line of Vishwarupa because this talks about Vishwarupa. So let's get into the technical terms. Okay, this is Jananti, right? We just saw Avijananti, right? So we are talking about Jananti. So understanding, knowing about Krishna, Lord Krishna is truth, leads to liberation. So Jananti. So what does it mean? Knowing about, see, knowing Krishna is different about knowing about Krishna. Knowing Krishna is the highest level, which is pure devotee. Currently, we are knowing about him. Example, the mother takes the child to a doctor, right? The doctor checks his body temperature, says he has fever, he has dysentery. Okay, we will give him these tablets. So he is knowing the body of the child, but does he know inner night of the child? Who will know better about the child? The qualities of the child, when the child eats? Who knows? Whether it's a doctor or the mother.
Mother.
Right? Yeah. So now currently we are in the position of a doctor. We are trying to know about Krishna, right? And therefore we will get to know Krishna and get into a relationship with Krishna. That is the concept. That is what is our learning curve. So for that we do all the sadhanas. Ajana, so this is first thing. These are the devotees, right? Pure. They know about Krishna. They are the mother relationship. Pure devotee. Right? They know everything about Krishna, what he needs, what kind of food he eats, pushpam, patram, param, toyam. So these are the category, menu card given by Krishna. And they made multiple menus with that. Whereas others will tell, what is there if I put onion, coffee, I'm going to keep. So all this, they don't argue. Ajananti, ignorance of Lord Krishna, continue. So they are ignorant, right? Muda, I don't think Lord Krishna is there. Right? So they go on and on. My aunt's name is Krishna Veni, and suddenly she will ask, it seems he was there. Really you believe Krishna was there? Really do you believe him? I keep telling, forget about really believing, not really believing. Can anyone tell me your, if I ask you father's name, you will tell me. Grandfather's name, you will tell in 2 seconds. If I ask you great-grandfather's name, hardly 1% of them will tell in this class. And if I ask you, okay, tell me the great-great-great, you will not even know. But 5,000 years, Krishna's name is spoken, right? So we have also kings, right? When we know, okay, Chandragupta Maurya, oh yes, we know Ashoka, yes, we know. Forget about that. We even know Akbar, right? So all this, we all know about someone who built Taj Mahal. Yes or no? Who built Taj Mahal?
Shahjahan?
Did he exist or no?
No.
No, he doesn't exist now, but did he ever existed or is it our imagination?
He existed.
Yes, so we also believe few years back somebody did, but 5,000 years back when Krishna existed, everybody has doubt. Right? Did he exist? Really? Was he there? Was he there? Was he so beautiful? Was he so handsome? Why not? Of course, right? So all of you believe that you had great-grandfathers, great-grandfather, or anyone has a doubt that your great-grandfather never had a father or great-grandfather? Yes, so you have not seen that. Why do you believe what you don't see? You are talking about Pratyaksha Praman. You have not seen your great-grandfather's great-grandfather. Then how can you believe? This is what happens, right? Because we think we are smart, but if Krishna is much smarter. Jananti, misunderstanding about Krishna will lead to bondage. It's another category, right? So these are 3 extremes. One, total devotees go to Goloka. Somebody who don't believe and they are in ignorant mode, they go and come to the cycle of birth. Misunderstanding, again, same problem. They have great sufferings, right? So we will get the styles shortly. So 9.12, we'll go ahead. Mogesha moga karmano moganyana vichetasaha rakshasim asurim chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Hare Krishna.
Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and aesthetic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes of liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated.
He says those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demonic and aesthetic views, right? He says those who are thus bewildered, they are so much in stress, they are so much confused, they are so much in confusion, automatically get attracted by demonic view. So there are people who say that Ravana is a very big devotee. The devotee will not have that Rakshasa buddhi, right? So his devotion was more because of getting something. So if you have a friend and you're very rich and your friend says, hey, I like you, I'm going to give you food, I'm going to do this. Is she a genuine friend of you? And then tells you, give me money. I want. Borrowing is okay. But then what I'm telling you is, if the whole thing is done, can you call her a friend? You call her an opportunist, right? You don't call her a friend. Then how can you call somebody like Ravana a devotee who has a thought of trying to completely use, right? So that's fools also get carried away, right? Ravana is a principle of a great character because he has never misbehaved with Sita. This is the version I've heard. Yes or no? And he has something called, what do you call it? He has a sab which says that if he misbehaves, because he has misbehaved with one of the demigods, and therefore there is a sab that if he touches any women without her permission, he is going to die. So that is why he was well behaved with Sita. So that is the challenge. It is not, his plus point. This is what it is. So many of us know half information and we get attracted, right? We get attracted. One more quality I would say is even with Karna. Many of us, wow, Karna is so good. But if you do, Krishna is so bad. How did he cheat Karna? How long it will take for Krishna to send the Suharshan Chakra and chop Karna's head? Or how long is it going to take for him to create a situation which is able to kill Karna without cheating? But he got it done because he says at the time of killing, 14 times you have cheated people, right? 14 times you have done wrong thing. Therefore, I will hit you with the same thing. Right? Because you should know that moment, that should prick you. That is what is the point which Krishna wants to drive, that cheating, if you think you can cheat, I can cheat further. So many people will tell, why do I have to do sadhana? You want me to think of me? Yeah, yadyad achariti is not yadyad. I mean, whatever I think is what I'm going to become. No problem. I'm going to do one thing, I'm going to, why should I do tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anushmaran vidhya my arpita mano buddhir ye mame vaishya samshaya. Why should I think of you all the time? Not required. Only at the time of death, which means yadyad vyapi sharan brahmam. Yes, I'm going to die. I'm going to put Krishna's posters everywhere, all around, roof thing. I will think of you, Krishna, 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 Krishna. I will chant. Is it going to happen? So Krishna knows how to make you forget for 1 second. He can give you a pain, my pain, then you'll forget it, right? Krishna can also do that. And we keep thinking, oh my God, this person has dementia. This person has Alzheimer. He is not going to ever reach me. Okay, how do you know if someone is in coma or Alzheimer, Krishna, he will forget? We are all thinking, we have doctors here. Any doctor here? In fact, I asked, we had about 3 doctors in last night's session. And sometime back I asked, do we know clearly what the coma person thinks? She said, no, we don't know. So we don't know. Maybe the person does not talk to you. Doesn't mean the person will not know, right? So fate of Duratma. So what happens to these people who disrespect Krishna, right? They get attracted by demons, right? So the entire Hiranyakashipu's team goes there. Their hope for liberation, fruitive activities, culture of all is gone. Why? Now, what is the purpose of developing a fruitive activity? Why do they do so much of dhyan? King Nirka's story is also that. Why do they do so much? It's only because they want to go to Swargaloka, right? And enjoy. They want to be happy here. Now that goes off if you insult. Now let's talk about next category, right? We have jnanis. They, keep on doing mental speculation, so much of research. So what is their purpose? Right? They want to get into jnana. They want to do. Their purpose is also gone. Now again, Siddhik yogis, they take the life energy, they take it up, and they want to go to Brahmajodi or whatever. Their purpose is also failing, which is explained. So which he very clearly explains. Right? Now the 3 characters, 3 qualities he's speaking. So hopes of liberation is totally gone, and it will come in. Bring you back there. So that is there. So now we spoke about people who don't believe. Now let's talk about people who believe. Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashrita bhajan dhananya manaso nyatva bhutadim avyayam. Hare Krishna.
O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional services because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible.
Hare Krishna. So, does anyone know the picture? Who it is? These 2 characters. Does everyone know the story of Madhavendra Puri? Yes or no?
Mataji.
No, Mataji.
No, okay. So Madhavendra Puri is a very exalted devotee, and those days the sannyasis never used to keep bank balance. So they used to go to various places and preach Krishna consciousness. And he goes to Vrindavan, and he is more exalted that they used to actually ask for food, beg for food. But he was so exalted that he would not even ask for food. He will just preach and go and sit. If he gets a food, he will eat. Otherwise, he'll leave. So this blue color boy, can you guess who this blue color boy called Gopal is?
Gopala. Krishna.
Gopal only, Krishna only. So he comes and hands over a pot of milk, and he says, Baba, have this pot of milk, Baba. And he says, who are you and why are you getting this? No, it's not required. He says, no, Baba, you're hungry, you should drink. How do you know? He says, Baba, I don't know all that. My mama says, nobody in this village should sleep empty stomach. Please, Baba, drink. My mama will scold me. So, just like how everybody does not want to take over the food, right? From a child, he also doesn't want to take. But then he says, okay, take it. He's like, okay, fine, I will take. He says, Baba, one thing, keep the pot very safe because my mama will scold me. I have to collect it back. So if we'll forget about it. But Madhavendra Puri is very, very elevated. And he is like, cleaning everything, and he's waiting for the boy to come. He is going ahead and, going for herding the cows and all. And then he is waiting, and in that he does japa and he just sleeps for a while. And in his dream, he is able to see, God telling that, hey, come follow me. And he says, come here. And he sees a small boy telling, Baba, save me, I'm stuck here. And when he is running and seeing, he takes him to the bush, and inside the bush he vanishes. And he sees, that is when he understands, oh my God, this Gopal is none other than our Krishna and Gopinath. So he, in the next day, takes a whole village with all the swords. This will come in Srimad Bhagavatam with knives, with all that, what do you call, all those heavy, lot of heavy grass is there. They keep, with all the chuckles, they keep breaking everything open, and they enter. And they see this particular deity. Originally, this pujari, during some Mohals, wanted to confiscate and destroy. So the pujari, what he did is he went and hid it inside a tree in a bush and kept it there. And remind me at the end, I have this picture I can show you. And he's so sweetly called Madhavendra Puri in his dream. And Madhavendra Puri dig, and then finally became the pujari of that particular place. So nice. And I'll show you that pic towards the end if you all remind me. So that is the story. And so Krishna personally comes, and when he knew, he was excited half, and then the other half, he was not excited, he was worried. He was thinking, oh my God, Krishna is personally coming to deliver me. How can I take it? Because how can I even think of Krishna delivering me? Krishna's serving me. I should be serving, right? This is how the Mahatmas think. And he is, his devotion service, Chaitanya, Radharani are very exalted. They are in a different platform. They say Prema is the highest, but they are even above that platform. So under the protection of divine nature. So he says, who are not diluted, they come under my protection. So if you see this word, Ashritaha, and there is the same word, right? We also said Maya, Prakriti, Ashritaya. Here also there is a word called Ashrit. So it's very important, but whom is what matters, right? So there, Maya, Prakriti. So, or Asuram Baba Ashritaya, to be more precise. Asura is referred there. It's the same link here. Here you see Rakshashi. So he's talking there. Whereas here, those who think of Krishna talks about whom Devim Prakriti, right? Devim, under the divine nature. And divine nature who? Krishna, right? So let's chant this 9.14. This will be the last verse for today before we enter the next verse, next section. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavritah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nityayukta upasate. Hare Krishna.
Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Krishna is very clearly telling on what basis, right? He's talking about devotees, and he says, great dridavritah, great determination. That is what is important. So you see, this person is chanting all the time glories. And you take these spiritual masters, they keep talking about Krishna, Krishna Katha all the time, right? And you see Prahlad all the time thinking, right? So there's nothing else. These are the only things which is going to come. And it he says very clearly in the 11th chapter, he says, 5 ways of reaching Krishna. When we come to 11 chapters, we'll see, but just a quick line. Mat karma krit, right? You do karma with this thinking. Mat paramo, right? Think of his abode. So what happens, right? You do sadhu sangha, you do everything. Do not consider anyone as an enemy. Will surely come to me, is what he will say. Always chanting my glories, endeavor with great determination, bowing down before me, right? When you go down, these great souls permanently and perpetually worship. All the time they worship Krishna. These are the external activities. Satam kirtayanto mam, right? Yatantascha, irrespective, determination, irrespective of the situation. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya. Always obeisance, right? He keep doing. Right? So that is, you see, Arjuna is praying, and prior to that, Nitya Yukta, finally, Nitya Yukta Upasate. All the time, Yukta means thinking, right? All the time, always keep worshiping me, keep reaching me, is what he says. So, we have one more, 15. 15 is nothing but the summary. Hare Krishna. Jnana yagnena chapyante. Yajanto mam upasate ekyatvena prattatvena bahuda vishvato mukam. Hare Krishna.
Others who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many, and in the universal form. Hare Krishna.
So, Hare Krishna. So this is a concept, right? Ekatvena means one, right? So what is the Vishvato Mukam means Vishnu Rupam, Vishwa Rupam or the Virat Rupam. So he says one who is engaged in sacrifice, so cultivating knowledge, right? They worship the Supreme form in various forms, right? They will, whatever we read now, he will think of one in many, right? Vishwarupa, all these they do. So he is talking about the Jnanis, right? Here they are talking about Vishwarupa for Jnanis, because Vishwarupa's form, which we will see in the 11th chapter, is close to the Brahmajyoti. So they will do that. So he says one who engage in the Jnani, right? Jnanis will worship on the Brahmajyoti, who are into more of the Vishwarupa. So the Jnanis think of the light version, Brahmajyoti version, or the Vishwarupa. We have the Siddhis, right? Ashtanga yogis, or Jnana, not Jnana yogi, Ashtanga yogis, of course, or Dhyana yogi, Dhyana yogis, they worship the Paramatma feature. They meditate on the Paramatma feature. And Bhaktas, whom do they worship? Bhaktas, come on, all of you are Bhaktas. Whom do they worship? Whom do they worship?
Krishna.
Bhagavan.
Yes, so we are going to see that. So we work, correct, the Bhagavan, the God. The Bhagavan is the personal feature, right? So today tomorrow we will summarize E onwards. So from D onwards, so we'll stop with D. So quickly, what and all we did, let me just go back to the first thing. So today we were actually doing a complete run up on the 9th chapter, which is a confidential service, right? Very devotional service, very confidential. So what all we did, we were talking about the link and the first 4 thing, hearing, Shrunu. That's the only qualification. Laulyam, right? We have to be mad of Krishna. That's the only thing which is required. Aisvarya Jnanam talks about Krishna's Acinta, Bheda, Abheda philosophy. Oneness is same and different, right? And we're talking about non-worshippers and worshippers. Who are the non-worshippers? We saw already in the 7th chapter, the 3 category. And here again, we are seeing all those who are non-worshippers, Ashuram Bhavam, they take shelter in the demons, right? And obviously tomorrow we will cover what is who should be the supreme object and the glories of directly worshipping Krishna. We are going to see that. With that, we will end. I know you all have questions. Let me just do the the concluding prayer. Vancha kalpa darubhyasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanan pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, all of you. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna. Okay, can any doubts? You can raise your hand. Otherwise, we can have a story today.
Mataji, one doubt here.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu, I know your voice so well.
Mataji, this devotional services, what are that 9 we have discussed? Is the devotional services, that hearing, chanting, remembering, these are the devotional services? Comes under devotional services?
Yes, that is, yes, Prabhu, 9. Shravanam, Kirtanam, exactly.
Yeah.
Chanting will come under that, yes, Prabhu.
Okay, that is clear. And this chapter is called a confidential this thing knowledge. Then generally confidential means it cannot be revealed, disclosed to anybody. But here
Yes.
Krishna is disclosed to all these people how it is confidential.
It is confidential because even though Krishna, that's what is Acinta, Bheda, Abheda philosophy also. Your point is very beautiful. You told confidential means it should not be in public. But in Bhagavad Gita, he is telling in public. So who can understand this? It is there. Prabhu, how many are there in your house, Prabhu?
Now only myself and my wife.
Is your wife also listening to this?
Yes, he is sitting.
Yeah. So now besides you and your wife, how many members are your family? You said you have daughters, right?
Yes, 2. Altogether 4.
Okay. Are they also following?
No, they are
right. So even if they come in the hall and they have a look, they won't understand. So the entire confidential knowledge is spoken only now, even though it's confidential, it's only revealed to 2 people, which is yourself and your wife.
Yes.
Right. So now it's a secret to you too, right? That's why I said Krishna's personal love letter is 9th chapter. Now you have 4 members in your house. And if I ask you how many living people are there in yours, you will still tell 4. But you also have lizards, you have cockroaches. How many of them listen to them? We don't know, right? So it's very confidential. And of the millions of people, how many of us are here? Only that many people get to know about Krishna. So it is very confidential because it's a secret. It's a secret of all secrets. Because even though it's written in black and white, only some people will be able to understand. Even if they read, they won't perceive. Like how I told, right? I have an aunt by name Krishna Veni. She's having the name of Krishna, but she keeps going on and on. How much ever we talk, she will never be convinced because she's gone into the, like Maya Prakrita Ashrama, Maya Prakrita Jnana, right? Like a philosopher, they keep thinking, no, may not be true. How is it possible? How can Krishna eat with the eyes? We don't know. We don't have a talent. We cannot eat without teeth. So we also lock Krishna with our mind. We relate to Krishna. We come across people who believe even in, can't believe, I'm talking about ghosts. They say you don't have, the ghost exists, but they don't have a body. How can it be? Someone who doesn't understand ghosts. Typically before Bhagavad Gita, I never believed in ghosts. So I used to ask, how is it possible? Because I was ignorant. So when you believe that there could be somebody, some energy without a body form, so there can be some body which has a bigger energy than us, right? So there are people who are totally convinced of ghosts. So my same aunt is so scared of ghosts and she believes there is a power. She doesn't talk logic. She doesn't say, people say they've seen ghosts. Okay, many have said they've seen God. You don't believe that, but you want to believe 2 people who believe in ghosts, even though you've not seen, right? So that is the concept. So this is a secret because it is spoken to few who are able to take it. But there are people, even in this classroom, who will just hear for the sake of hearing and may not be able to take a grip of it, right?
Yes, got it.
So Mohandas Prabhu is going to play a video which says, if you follow the 2 principles, Krishna will be within the grip, within you. So this is a classic, beautiful thing. In fact, it's a message. Thank you so much, Mohandas Prabhu. Yes, you can play it. So you know very well, right? So how can you get Krishna in your grip? How can you really fall for Krishna? And how can you make Krishna fall for you, right? So he says, he's very dear. So very clear, right? So not everybody is lucky, just the way you all are lucky. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, did I answer? And any other doubts?
Yes, Mataji.
This video?
Go ahead with the video, Mataji.
You got it? Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead. I'll close.
Hare
Krishna. Yes, thank you. Any further doubts, you all can type in chat.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam.
So sometimes cheating is required for the less intelligent class of man. But we are not cheating. We are very simple. Why should we cheat? Krishna said, Manvana bhava mad bhakta mad jati mang namaskuru. So We say, please come here, here is Krishna, and you simply think of him. What is the difficulty? Here is Radha Krishna, and if you daily see, naturally you will have impression within your mind about Radha and Krishna. So at any place, anywhere you can think of Radha and Krishna. What is the difficulty? Manvana. You chant Hare Krishna, as soon as you chant Krishna, immediately you remember the form of Krishna in the temple, Ram Roop. Then you are hearing about Krishna, you remember about his qualities, his activities, Nam, Guna, Roop, Lila, Parikar, Vaishnav. In this way, this you can practice. What is the difficulty? This is the beginning of practice. Actually Krishna is there. But because I have no eyes to see Krishna, I am thinking, where is Krishna? It is a stone statue. But he does not know the stone is also Krishna. Stone is also Krishna. Water is also Krishna. Earth is also Krishna. Air is also Krishna. Without Krishna, there is no other existence. That the devotee can see. Therefore, whenever he sees stone even, he sees Krishna. Here the atheist will say that you are worshipping stone, but they are not worshipping stone, they are worshipping Krishna because they know that there is nothing else except Krishna. Premanjana Charita Bhakti Vilocha. That stage we have to arrive. How you can say stone is not Krishna? Krishna says, you have to understand, Krishna, as Krishna said, the Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Pamaira Panala Vayu, Kamana Buddhiri Vacha, Vindami Prakriti Astadha, their mind, just like I am speaking, it is being recorded, and when replay, the same sound will come. And he'll know that here is our spiritual master. But I am not there. This sound is now different from me. Bhinna. Bhinna means separated. But as soon as the record is played, everyone will know here is Bhakti Vedanta Swami. If you know, so that requires education. That Krishna so Jnana, the more you engage yourself in Krishna's service, the more you can realize Krishna. Sevan mukhi jivadu same vastu. So our process is very simple. Simply engage your tongue. Leave aside all other senses. The tongue is very strong. And tongue is our bitterest enemy. And tongue can be your most intimate friend. This tongue. Therefore the Shastra says that Sevanmukhi hi jivadu, just engage your tongue in the service of the Lord, and He will be very nice. Now what we do with the tongue? We talk of Krishna. We sing, chant of Krishna. We eat, taste. I eat Krishna Prasad. You'll understand Krishna. Any foolish person, any uneducated or any position of life, you can use your tongue for Krishna's service. Don't eat anything which is not eaten by Krishna. Your tongue becomes your most intimate friend. And don't talk anything except Krishna. If you follow these two principles, Krishna is within your grip. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, Mohandas Prabhu, so aptly played for today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, so I told you all that I will show you this Madhavendra Puri. Not this. So this one is Madhavendra Puri's picture. And this is the first thing which you saw. And you also saw, he dreaming, right? In his dream, he comes, right? Gopinath temple. And this particular temple is a few miles from Vrindavan. And this is how the deity originally was, right? Then they buried and brought the deity out and he did puja. And then finally, this is how he is. And it is, he's called Lord Gopinath. And that's a speciality, right? So Krishna personally comes and talks to devotees in the dreams, right? So such exalted devotees. So this is the thing. Is there any other doubts you have? Else we can end the session. Any other doubt or anything else you would like to know? Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So much silence.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Before that, I just would like to know anyone going to Vrindavan from this group. The last ray of registration will be today. So if anybody would like to add yourselves, because this is a great opportunity, 5,000 rupees, boarding, food, everything is taken care. And all the sites, everything going right from Mangalarti, Prabhu has done. We are giving devotee association is so useful. I would love to travel, but since I'm just recovering, I think I'll be able to withstand that kind of a travel. I really miss it. So anyone traveling here from this group, and it is still open, please feel free to book if you can also take a friend or a relative with you. Yeah. So Mohandas Prabhu will post the Vrindavan link in the group. Please go ahead, have a look at the presentation, and it's still open today, so you can go ahead.
Mataji, have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I would like to book the thing, but because of this corona situation, I have to book my international flight also. So if there is any problem booking international flight, will the money be reimbursed in future if I'm not able to travel or something?
You're talking about international flight, or you're talking about?
Yeah, if I have to book, then I have to book international flight also. But this situation is so volatile.
No. 1 second. I'm a little confused. You're traveling from abroad to India.
Yes. I stay in Bangladesh.
Okay. Sorry, where do you stay, Mataji?
I stay in Bangladesh.
Understood. So your doubt, what you're telling is, if you have to book and if you are stuck in
if I'm not
travel,
yeah.
Will you have a reimbursement? See, one thing I can tell is you can write a mail to Prabhu, and Prabhu is very considerate. So if you book, and if you have a very serious issue, so you can't travel, I think you can write a note. Mataji, if you can get in touch with Mohandas Prabhu.
Okay.
Mohandas Prabhu will give you some contacts. You can have a word with, I will share a contact Mohandas Prabhu to you. You can just have a word with, coordinate the whole thing. So he will be able to help you on how to take it forward.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And you please WhatsApp me if once you book, so that, even for coordination, from somebody in that area, or what language, some.
I'm from Bangalore.
So you should be knowing Kannada.
Yeah, yes.
And any other language besides English and Kannada, Mataji?
I know Telugu, Tamil.
So excellent. So you can be a very good point of coordination also for somebody. Like 10 people need help, you can coordinate. You don't have to book your tickets or anything, but over there just to make sure that everybody is there. Mohandas Prabhu number is there.
Yes, Mataji. Yes.
Yeah, you can just make a note, and Mohandas Prabhu, I'll give you, another devotee Prem's number. You can share it with me, and Mataji, you can directly talk to him, and he'll be able to help you.
Sure. Yes. Yeah. Thank you so much.
So Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So it's very nice, ask doubts. So, we'll be able to take things forward. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
In today's attendance form also, we have asked this question.
Yeah, please go ahead and mark attendance. I'm going to end the session in a minute. Yeah. So Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all of you. Hare Krishna, and I'll end the meeting. One loud Hare Krishna from all of you, please.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.